Hey YouTube, just wanted to show you what I've been working on over the winter. I'm kind of wanting to get back into golf after kind of taking some time off for a while, and here where we live, winter seems to be a little too long and too much time between seasons, so I decided that I was going to put a golf simulator in the basement. So I just thought I'd run through kind of what I've done, what I've put together, and let you let you see it for anybody who's interested or thinking about possibly installing one of these into their house. Now, I was trying to be as budget minded as I possibly could. I had some unfinished space in the basement. We do have a 9-foot pour, so I've got just under 9 foot on my ceilings, and although I can hit every club in here, occasionally with the driver and the 3-wood, I will hit the ceiling. I've got acoustic foam ceiling tiles in, so it absorbs the impact pretty well. I haven't damaged any clubs or anything, but I do make some nicks in the ceiling from time to time. So for those of you that are wondering, and I'm about 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", and I've got a relatively flat swing, but I can swing pretty much unimpeded down here, and I don't really have any issues at all. Occasionally, like I said, I'll hit the ceiling. From my point of impact here to the screen, we are about 8 feet or so, a little over 8 feet. The screen itself is a Carl's standard golf impact screen. It's 7.5 feet tall and it's 10 feet wide. It's roughly $200, give or take, at the time that I bought it on Amazon. And it's a great screen. I don't really have any issues with it. It works well. It's rated for like 10,000 hits, up to 250 miles an hour, and I think I don't know if I've hit how many I've hit, but it's showing absolutely no sign of wear. They do say it's single-sided, so you're not supposed to be able to turn it around and reuse it, but I don't understand why that would be the case. But I'll keep you posted on that if I have any issues with it. I've also installed a TV down here so that we can watch whatever, soccer or golf or sports, Super Bowl, whatever. So that's kind of cool. The projector that I'm using is an old projector from our theater. It's a BenQ W1070. It is almost 4 years old, but it's really noisy. So the fan on this particular projector is it was too noisy for the theater. I don't know, it degraded over time, and so I decided to put it in here, and I bought a new projector for our theater room. But I mean, it works well. It's just noisy. But in this environment, it's okay. We're not watching any movies or anything like that. It's just projecting the image onto the screen. So for that purpose, it works well. For the video, I'm worried you might hear a little bit too much fan noise, but it's it's mounted about 8 feet off the floor. I don't get to utilize my full screen width and height because my projector is just too close to the screen. This room, based on the size, is the best I could do. So the actual dimensions of the picture are about a foot and a half shorter than my screen is wide, and about a foot or so smaller than the screen is tall. But for all intents and purposes, this is more than adequate for what we use it for. So I also have on the wall here, I have a wireless keyboard that I use to manipulate the play. I've got a wireless mouse positioned over here on a shelf. Those are both connected to a computer upstairs. So is the projector. Everything's running through a computer upstairs. I can give you the specs on that computer, but it's a beast. So I haven't had any issues running any of the software or SkyTrack or anything. So the brains of the operation really is, I guess, the SkyTrack. There's a lot of different launch monitors out there. I was dipping my toe into the water and I decided to go with the SkyTrack, and I've been more than happy with it. I don't have any real complaints. I'll do a separate video on that, highlighting things that I like and I dislike, but that's the launch monitor that I'm using. Right now, the simulator software that I'm using is the golf club game. It is, I don't know what year, what version it is, but I believe they're coming out with a new one here in 2019, which I'm on the list for. So we'll see how that works. But I'll discuss simulator also in along with the SkyTrack review when I do that. The hitting mat is. I bought it off of Amazon, and it is called it's a 48 by 60 inch XL Super golf mat. And I really like it a lot. I really do. I bought another insert, which is up here, and that is the Country Club Elite golf mat, which I used to have inserted into this mat. And I like this mat better at the end of the day. There's nothing really wrong with that mat, but it's much firmer. It doesn't give as much, and I feel like this mat, for roughly 170 bucks, it performs really, really well, and I like it. It does affect the spin of the ball a little bit. I notice if you really try to compress the ball, it jacks with the spin a little bit, and it'll give you some errant numbers on the SkyTrack. Actually, both of them kind of do it. This one's just worse. But about 170 bucks on Amazon. I like it. When it comes time to replace this, I will probably buy this again. The rest of the floor here is just a built-up floor that I made to practice putting. It's at about a 3% incline, which I don't know if you can see on camera, but all it is just a wood subfloor on raked sleepers, and there's a layer of old carpet that I had that I put underneath it to soften it up. Also quiets the drop of the ball a little bit off of the screen. And then this is just regular old indoor-outdoor carpet from Lowe's. Nothing fancy or special about it, but it rolls really true, although very fast. But I put two cups in, one over on that side and one on this side. So one kind of for straight putts if we want, and then we've got a bit of a breaking putt here. But it's got a little bit of a curve to it because of the slope. And we originally put that in because I wasn't sure which simulator software I was going to be buying, and I did the trial with the E6, or I knew I was going to do the trial with the E6, and I knew that through that software you could manually input the number of putts. So instead of putting virtually with the launch monitor, once we reached the green, depending upon how far away from the cup we were, and I'm talking about playing locally here with friends, then we'd have certain putts that you'd have to make in order to hole out, and you'd have to physically putt it into the hole rather than virtual putt. And whatever putt number you had, then we'd put that into the software, and that worked really well. You can't do that with the golf club game, so really it's just for practicing, and we have to virtually putt. I don't do a lot of the tournaments and stuff. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. I haven't done any of the tournaments. Although I'm interested in it, I haven't found the time to do it. So if you're going to do that, you need to get good at virtual putting, anyways. But anyways, so this is just a kind of sloped floor that will help return the balls back to the mat more often than not. Behind the screen, I have a secondary catch in case anything happens. There's a concrete wall back there about 2 feet behind the screen, and although there's really nothing that can be damaged, I do store some stuff behind the screen out of the way. So I have kind of a net back there that in case something were to happen with the screen, it would catch it. Or occasionally we get a worm burner underneath the screen, and it'll stop it from ping-ponging around back behind the screen in here. But I've got 3 spotlights in here, and I've got them coned so that they shine directly down and not so much on the screen, so that I can keep the screen brightness high, I guess to say. And but it's pretty dark, so I'm not surprised if you can't see me well. It's a darker room. In reality, it's fine if you've got people in here, but on camera, I'm not sure how it comes across. The walls, well, some of the walls in here, well, all the walls in here are sheetrocked. I wanted to try and provide a little bit of acoustical value to some of these, so I made these panels. These wall panels they're an extra layer of sheetrock that are wrapped in a layer of like padding, and then I wrapped them in fabric just to dress them up, and then attach them to the wall, just to kind of deaden the sound a little bit. Again, I didn't want to go crazy, but I think that it adds a cool look to the room, and it helps deaden the sound a little bit. Again, the ceiling is just acoustic, 1x1 acoustic tiles, foam tiles that I adhere to the ceiling, and that deadens the sound quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I can be playing down here, hitting driver, watching TV, and directly above us, you can't even hear anything. So it does a pretty good job. I've gone over the hitting mat and this flooring. The other flooring is just foam flooring again. It's a soft feel underfoot, but I wanted something other than just unfinished concrete in this space. This was nice and cheap, and it keeps the balls from really bouncing around if one gets loose. It keeps it quiet. They don't make noise when they hit it. But it's just kind of an industrial foam mat, like an anti-fatigue type mat that you can get just about anywhere from Walmart to Home Depot to Lowe's to online. But it's got a little wood grain finish. It doesn't wear so well. It nicks up easy. If you drop a tee on the floor and then you step on that tee while it's on the floor, it tends to leave a gouge or a mark. But for my purposes and for this room, it works out well. So yeah, here I'm just playing, or I've set it up for aim in corner. So we're at Augusta, and I'll just take a few shots here. I find that I have to cut tees down to the right height for this mat. So I have a whole bucket of tees that I've cut down. Not bad, 225 yards.
Great contact.
So chipping and putting is a real challenge in here, just because for me and most people, I think the clubs are all dirty because I played in the mud yesterday. But chipping and putting is difficult because it's really a touch, a feel thing. You know, I know I've got 21 yards to the pin, and I try to visualize that, but it's just totally different. So it's really something that you really have to kind of get the hang of, and it's not easy for sure. So that'll be short. That's a gimme. So yeah, I hope you found this useful for anyone who's thinking about maybe adding something like this to their home. I love it. My buddies love it. We have a good time down here, and it allows me to practice year round, even though there may be snow on the ground, or you know, maybe -10 outside. So it's a lot of fun, and you know, overall it wasn't too terribly costly for me to do in my particular situation, and I think it's great. So if you have any questions, you know, or want to know anything more, if I left something out, or anything didn't make sense, feel free to give me send me a question or a comment. If you liked the video, obviously like and subscribe. Check out my other videos. But like I said, I'll do a review on the SkyTrack and the golf club game together, simulator together, so that you can you know, find out what my input is after using both of them and owning them. But I hope you found this helpful, and good luck.